Hi guys, welcome to another video. When you're new here, please like, share or subscribe, put on your notifications bell. And when you're a returning viewer, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you to watch my videos. Just thank you. So, let's see what's in the package. In this video I'm going to show you a complete 3D printed FOD probe GT, and yeah, the rest of the stuff I'm gonna build myself. In the whole world there was no 1/18 scale FOD probe, so I decided to let it 3D print it. Link in description where you can buy this kind of cars, special cars or cars you can't buy anywhere. The body is looking good. It's nicely detailed. First I had to figure out how to build a chassis. I had a toy car laying around. The wheelbase from the toy car almost matched with the FOD probe. A little bit grinding, a little bit sanding, and then it fits nicely. So I got a good base to build the project on. As you can see, it almost fits. Almost. This car took me about 2 months to build, so it was one hell of a job. And the 3D print material is really fragile, so you have to be careful, because when you grind too hard, it broke. It broke multiple times. I decided to make the body a little bit sturdier by putting plastic or kind of vinyl inside the car, and I drilled already some holes for the lights later on. It was the first time I built a car from this material, so for me it was new. It was try and try again, yeah, fail, try again, a lot of trying, a lot of The body already fits nicely on the chassis. So now I'm gonna cut out the parts which gonna be opened later on, like the trunk, the doors, the sunroof, the headlights and the bonnet. And when you're new here, please like, share, comment or subscribe. And when you want to have your own car built by me, please hit me up on Facebook or TikTok or leave a comment below and I get right back to you. So, I cut out all the opening parts, but now the body is really flimsy, so I have to make it more sturdy with some Bondo and some metal strips I glued in to make it more sturdy and more strong, because the material is really fragile, really fragile. The body fits nicely on the chassis. So, let's see how it's coming together. The owner from the real car wants to have an opening sunroof. Let's take everything apart and let's prep it and sand it and prime it. I used some really fine sanding paper to sand the body. And I put on some more Bondo on places which I wasn't happy with. After primer it looks already a lot better. Then I made some hinges for the rear trunk. I used a hinge from a cigar box for the rear. For the front and the doors I make the hinges myself. And I put on some little magnets to close it more realistic and to let it stay in place. The tiny magnets I bought on Temu. They come with 100 pieces. And of course I have to adjust something. I have to grind something out to make it fit more nicely. The front hinge I made from a steel rod I had laying around. You can use paper clips also, but they are very flimsy, as you can see. I made them for the doors, but later on I am going to change that. I wasn't happy with the panel caps, so I put on more Bondo. And when you're still watching this video, please subscribe, put on your notifications bell, like, comment or share. You help me a lot. Now it's time for primer. And some more Bondo, of course. The bonnet and the trunk are opening nicely. I'm very happy with how it turned out. Sanding, priming and Bondo took me about 2 weeks. It was a lot of work, because when you push too hard, the body breaks or some other parts, it gets distorted. The body flexes a lot, so you have to be really careful. But now, time for primer again. Of course I have to test fit everything again to see if it still fits nicely. And it does. And I test fit it with some wheels what I had laying around. The car is going to be purple. Yes, really, purple. Royal Plum Pearl it's called. It's a special color. I had the color special made for this car. So, first layer is on. Let's see how it turned out. Second layer is on. Yeah, purple is nice. The color changes in the light or on the angle you look at it. It's nice, but I wasn't happy with it, so let's get back to sanding and let's get back to painting again. It looks much better now. Now it's time to make the trunk. I use real materials like real cloth and real plastic. And the material I used a lot in my former builds. The sculpture blocks. Of course I have to test fit. And I painted it black. I used the same material to sculpt out some seats and a rear seat bench and the dashboard and the rear side panels. Yeah. It's already looking more and more realistic. Then it was time for a partial shelf. I used some old plastic material I had laying around. And it has to go up and down when you open your trunk. So I put on some little cables or wires. And I put in some real carpet and made the rear seats. This is going to be the center console. And now it's time for the front seats. I sculpted them myself from the material called sculpture blocks, and I use some real cloth. So let's put everything inside and see how it looks. It's really dusty on this moment, so you can see it looks a little bit grey, but it's black. Now it's time to make a dashboard. It already looks like the real dash. I use some really fine wire. to get the parcel shelf go up and down when you're opening the trunk. The dashboard looks rough, but no worries, I'm going to change that later on. First, I'm going to make the electronics fit. I put everything back and test if the lights will work. And yes, they do. And then I asked the owner, what kind of wheels do you want? The original ones or some special other ones? He said, put on some TE37s. So yeah, I test fitted it. And I made some new hinges for the front doors. The front hinges I cut out of an old model car I had laying around. And they work superb, as you can see. I changed the front hinge also. And this is really the last time I say it, but when you're still watching this video, don't forget to like, share, comment or subscribe. And leave on your notifications bell. And this time I put on some lights. For the front pop-up lights I used some old pop-up lights from an older model I had laying around as base. The owner wants to have the car have sleepy eyes. So I will do that. The bonnet broke a couple of times and so other parts I wasn't happy with it. Like the panel caps and some scratches. So back to the paint booth again. I think it's enough Bondo on the bonnet, so I hope it never breaks again. When I'm painting the body, I painted the big brake kit also. I love how the color is changing by the light. The brake kit turned out nice, so let's fit it in the wheels and see how it looks. And I hear you thinking, Japanese wheels on an American car. But the Ford Probe is 70% Mazda and 30% Ford. And it looks effing amazing. It's going to be one heavy car with all the paint and Bondo. Then it was time to make some windows. I used some 3mm Lexan. And because the car is really round, I have to heat the windows and make them fit. For the rear I decided to cut off the trunk. Later on I'm going to put it back together. About this time I was about a month, 2 months in with the build. So I was happy to see it almost finished. I wasn't happy with the carpet, so I decided to put on some new carpet, much better quality. And decided to redo the rear and the seats. Left is a new cloth, right are the old ones. It looks much better, I think. What is your opinion? Let me know in the comments. Then it was time to make some door panels. I used some vinyl for it and I band it in place. And I printed out some original brochures because the owner of this car is a real fanatic. And I made a little box with oil, coolant and some head gaskets. Sorry Chris. I had to do it. I just had. And I still wasn't happy with how the paint turned out. So let's do it. The final time. Yes, this is it. So now I'm not gonna paint it anymore. Now it's time for some final details. Time for the lights. I used some clear plastic, some vinyl for the colors, and later on I'm going to tint them with tinting foil. And as you can see, I printed out some logos and some license plates. They are working, nice. Even the dashboard lights work. The left front light is not working, but it was because it was a loose connection. I'm so happy to see it almost finished. Look at the color, I'm really digging it. A quick overview, and then it's time for the final part of this build. Building the V6 engine from scratch. The material I used for the engine is a so-called sculpture block. I painted the engine grey and made some valve covers. Now it's time for the spark plugs and some other details, like the intake. It looks quite the same, right? Let me know in the comments below. I ordered a nice display box, so we can put it on. I did the wiring and put in the battery box. It comes with 3 AA batteries. And before I forget, I tinted the windows too, for a more realistic look. And I added some more details in the engine bay. But now it's finished. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, comment or subscribe. And I hope I see you the next time. Bye bye.